After 60, the body changes the way it listens to movement. It is no longer impressed by repetition alone, and it no longer responds strongly to motion that feels familiar and unchallenging. Walking, while gentle and comforting, sends a very limited message to the muscles and bones. It says, keep going, keep enduring, keep repeating. But aging muscles are not asking only for endurance. They are asking for relevance. They want to know whether they are still needed for daily life, whether they still have a role to play in standing up, stabilizing the body, and protecting against falls. Meaningful strength signals answer that question directly, and science makes this very clear. As we age, muscle fibers, especially the fast-reacting ones that protect us when we stumble or lose balance, begin to shrink if they are not challenged. These fibers do not wake up during slow, repetitive activities. They wake up when the body is asked to produce force with control. When you rise from a chair slowly, hold your balance briefly, or lift your body weight against gravity, the muscles receive a clear instruction to stay active. This instruction triggers biological pathways that preserve muscle size, improve nerve communication, and support bone density. Without these signals, the body assumes the muscle is no longer essential and begins to let it fade. The same principle applies to bones. Bones are living tissue that respond to stress, not harmful stress, but purposeful load. Walking creates very little variation in bone loading, especially if it is done at the same pace and on the same surface. Strength-based movements introduce gentle pressure in new directions, reminding bones to remain dense and resilient. This is one of the most effective ways to slow age-related bone loss, and it cannot be replaced by steps alone. The nervous system also plays a central role in this process. Strength movements demand coordination, timing, and focus. They require the brain to communicate clearly with the muscles. This sharpens neural pathways that often weaken with age. Walking becomes automatic, almost unconscious, while strength-based actions require attention. That attention keeps the brain engaged and responsive, improving reaction time and movement confidence. There's also a psychological shift that happens when the body experiences strength. Repetitive motion can feel passive, but meaningful effort feels empowering. When a person feels their legs support them, their core stabilize them, and their balance improve, confidence grows. That confidence changes posture, breathing, and willingness to move. It reduces fear, which is one of the greatest hidden contributors to physical decline in older adults. After 60, the body becomes incredibly honest. It responds only to what truly challenges it, not to what simply keeps it busy. Meaningful strength signals tell the body that it is still required to perform, still expected to adapt, still valued. These signals protect independence, preserve dignity, and maintain the ability to live without hesitation. When movement carries purpose, the body listens more closely, adapts more willingly, and remains capable in ways that repetition alone can never achieve. Chair-based strength movements may look simple on the surface, but beneath that simplicity lies one of the most powerful tools for protecting independence as we age. Standing up from a chair without using the hands is not just an exercise, it is a rehearsal for daily life. Every time the body performs this movement, it is practicing self-reliance. The muscles of the thighs, hips, and glutes engage together, creating a chain of support that stabilizes the knees, protects the lower back, and keeps the torso upright. Science shows that these muscles are among the first to weaken with age, and when they weaken, everyday tasks quietly become risky. What makes chair-based movements so effective is their direct connection to real-world function. Unlike many exercises that isolate a single muscle, this movement teaches the body to work as a unit. The brain must coordinate effort, balance, and timing all at once. This coordination strengthens neural pathways that help prevent missteps and sudden loss of stability. Walking does not demand this same level of coordination. It is rhythmic and predictable, while standing from a chair requires precision and awareness. There is also an important relationship between this movement and fall prevention. Many falls do not happen while walking long distances, they happen during transitions. Getting up too quickly, losing balance while standing, or shifting weight awkwardly are common triggers. Practicing controlled chair rises trains the body to handle these transitions safely. The muscles learn to generate force gradually, and the nervous system learns to manage posture changes smoothly. From a biological perspective, chair-based strength movements stimulate muscle fibers that are essential for quick reactions. These fibers help the body catch itself when balance is threatened. Without training, they weaken, and recovery becomes slower. With consistent practice, they remain responsive. This responsiveness is what allows an older adult to regain balance instead of falling. There is also a powerful mental effect. When a person realizes they can stand up smoothly and confidently, something shifts internally. Fear begins to fade, confidence grows. Movement no longer feels like a risk, but like a skill that can be trusted. This psychological safety encourages more activity, which further strengthens the body in a positive cycle. Chair-based exercises are also accessible. They can be done at home without equipment and adjusted to any ability level. Support can be added when needed and gradually reduced as strength improves. This adaptability makes them sustainable, which is critical for long-term health. Independence is not maintained through dramatic effort, but through consistent practice of meaningful movement. Standing up from a chair may seem ordinary, yet it reflects the body's ability to support itself in everyday life. When this ability is preserved, confidence remains, mobility stays intact, and the fear of dependence is replaced with trust in the body's own strength. Balance is often misunderstood as the ability to stand still, but in the aging body, balance is really about recovery. It is the skill of responding when something unexpected happens, when the ground shifts, when the body sways, or when attention drifts for just a moment. After 60, the systems that control balance begin to slow unless they are gently challenged. These systems include the inner ear, the eyes, the muscles, and most importantly, the brain. Balance exercises speak directly to all of them at once, reshaping communication pathways that determine how quickly and confidently the body responds to instability. When a person practices standing on one leg or shifting weight with control, small stabilizing muscles awaken throughout the feet, ankles, hips, and core. These muscles rarely get enough attention during walking because walking follows a predictable pattern. Balance exercises introduce uncertainty in a safe way, forcing the body to make tiny adjustments. Each adjustment strengthens the feedback loop between the brain and the body. Over time, this improves reaction speed, coordination, and confidence. Scientific research shows that balance training stimulates neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself. Even later in life, the brain can learn new movement patterns and improve existing ones. When balance is challenged, the brain refines its timing and improves signal clarity. This is why balance exercises are so effective at reducing fall risk. They do not simply strengthen muscles, they train the nervous system to respond faster and more accurately when balance is threatened. Falls often occur not because someone is weak, but because the body cannot react quickly enough. A stumble becomes a fall when recovery is delayed. Balance training focuses on this critical moment. It teaches the body how to regain control, how to shift weight smoothly, and how to stabilize without panic. This ability to recover is far more important than the ability to remain perfectly still. There is also a strong emotional component to balance. Fear of falling can change how a person moves. Steps become shorter, posture becomes rigid, and movements become hesitant. This stiffness actually increases fall risk. Balance exercises performed in a controlled environment help rebuild trust in the body. As confidence grows, movement becomes more fluid, breathing relaxes, and posture improves. the body begins to move with intention rather than fear. Balance training also enhances awareness. It encourages mindfulness, bringing attention to how the body feels in space. This awareness carries over into daily life, improving walking quality, turning movements, and posture transitions. Simple activities like stepping off a curb or reaching for an object become smoother and more controlled. After 60, balance is not something that disappears suddenly. It fades quietly when it is not practiced. The good news is that it can be restored through consistent, gentle challenge. By focusing on recovery rather than perfection, balance exercises teach the body resilience. They remind the nervous system that it is still capable of learning, adapting, and responding. This ability to recover is what keeps older adults upright, confident, and engaged with life without fear or hesitation. Intentional full body movement changes how circulation works in the aging body. After 60, blood flow can become less efficient, especially in the legs, leading to stiffness, swelling, and a feeling of heaviness. Walking helps, but it often relies on momentum rather than engagement. When movement is slow, controlled, and deliberate, muscles act more effectively as pumps, assisting blood return to the heart and improving oxygen delivery throughout the body. This kind of movement asks more of the muscles and rewards the cardiovascular system with better efficiency, rather than just endurance. When you lift a knee with control, swing the opposite arm, and maintain upright posture, the heart responds in a balanced way. Heart rate increases gently, without sudden spikes, making it safer and more sustainable for older adults. This supports heart health while protecting joints and connective tissue. The rhythm of intentional movement also improves breathing patterns, encouraging deeper, more coordinated breaths that enhance oxygen exchange and reduce stress on the cardiovascular system. From a metabolic standpoint, intentional movement is especially powerful. Muscle contractions play a critical role in regulating blood sugar and reducing insulin resistance. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at managing glucose, increasing the risk of metabolic disorders. When muscles are engaged purposefully, they draw glucose from the bloodstream more effectively, supporting stable energy levels and reducing inflammation. Walking contributes to this process, but intentional full body movements activate more muscle groups, creating a stronger metabolic response. Joint health also benefits significantly. Slow, controlled movements increase the flow of synovial fluid, which lubricates joints and reduces stiffness. This is particularly important for hips, knees, and ankles, which often feel tight after periods of inactivity. Intentional movement encourages gentle range of motion without impact, supporting joint longevity and comfort. Over time, this can improve mobility and reduce discomfort that might otherwise limit activity. There is also an important connection between circulation and brain health. Improved blood flow supports cognitive function by delivering oxygen and nutrients to the brain. Coordinated movements that engage both sides of the body stimulate neural pathways associated with focus, memory, and coordination. This mind-body connection enhances mental clarity and emotional well-being, reminding the body that movement is not just physical, but deeply neurological. Intentional full-body movement also carries a calming effect on the nervous system. Slow, rhythmic actions reduce stress hormones and promote relaxation. This balance between stimulation and calm is essential for aging bodies that are more sensitive to stress. When movement feels purposeful rather than rushed, it becomes restorative rather than exhausting. After 60, circulation is not just about moving blood, it is about nourishing tissues, supporting metabolism, and protecting the heart and brain. Intentional movement invites the entire system to work together with efficiency and care. When muscles, heart, and nerves move in harmony, the body feels lighter, more energized, and more connected. This kind of movement supports long-term vitality in a way that passive motion alone cannot achieve. Aging is often described as something that happens to the body, but science reveals it as an ongoing conversation between the body and the signals it receives. Every movement, every habit, every choice sends information to cells about what is expected of them. When movement becomes vague or repetitive, the message the body hears is that less is required. Over time, systems begin to downshift, not because they are incapable, but because they're no longer being invited to participate. Precise movement changes that conversation. It tells the body exactly what is needed and gives it a reason to adapt rather than retreat. The muscles respond first. When movements are intentional, controlled, and specific, muscle fibers receive a clear instruction to remain active. This clarity matters more than intensity. The body does not need to be overwhelmed to adapt, it needs to be understood. Precise movements communicate expectations, telling muscles when to stabilize, when to generate force, and when to relax. This coordination preserves strength and prevents the confusion that leads to stiffness and weakness. Bones listen as well. Bone tissue constantly remodels itself based on the loads it experiences. Random or minimal stress sends no strong signal, while thoughtful loading encourages density and resilience. When movements challenge posture, balance, and controlled strength, bones receive directional information that supports their structure. This dialogue between movement and bone health continues throughout life, as long as the message remains clear. The nervous system may be the most responsive participant in this dialogue. Precision demands attention. Attention sharpens neural pathways. When movements require awareness, timing, and balance, the brain becomes actively involved. Reaction speed improves, coordination becomes smoother, and confidence grows. The brain does not age simply because of time. It ages when stimulation becomes scarce. Precise movement keeps the brain engaged, reinforcing its role as an active partner in physical health. There is also a deeper emotional layer to this conversation. When the body is treated with care and intention, trust is rebuilt. Many older adults carry a quiet fear of movement, shaped by stiffness, pain, or past falls. Precise movement rebuilds trust step by step. It replaces fear with familiarity and hesitation with confidence. This emotional shift influences posture, breathing, and willingness to move, creating a positive cycle of engagement. Adaptation is the natural response to clear information. The body is remarkably efficient at conserving energy, and without direction, it chooses reduction. Precise movement provides direction. It says, remain strong, remain stable, remain responsive. This message does not fight aging, it collaborates with it. It acknowledges change while encouraging capability. Decline is not an inevitable outcome of age. It is often the result of unclear communication. When movement becomes intentional, the body understands its role and rises to meet it. Aging then becomes less about loss and more about refinement, a process guided by thoughtful signals rather than passive acceptance. In this dialogue between biology and behavior, precise movement becomes the language that invites the body to keep adapting, learning, and supporting life with quiet strength and resilience.